All right. What's up,
Oh,
everybody? This is I don't even know, episode 39, I think, of One of a Kind with RVD. And guys, you know who's here. And it's Mr. Monday Night. On Monday night, it is Rob Van Dam. Rob, good to
yeah.
see you this week, brother. Special episode this week.
Yeah, special time, special night. It happens to be a good night for me, Mr. Monday Night, as everybody knows. Hey, by the way, I guess, should I start calling myself Mr. Wednesday Night now or what?
I think so.
It's appropriate, huh? But then I
Uh,
don't know, I was almost Mr. Saturday Night too. But
you
I
could
was
be
already
basically Mr. Every damn day of the week. That would be it.
to do that.
Cover it all there. Yeah.
This weekend, we were in Queens, New York. Thank you for everybody that came out to the signing. Holy crap, what a busy day, dude.
Was it?
Busy day. Whew, at Wrestling Universe in Queens. It's a wrestling store. I've signed there a few times before, and I think everybody has, but it was ECW day, and I was there from 11, pretty much 12 hours, from 11 till at least 10:30 at night.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and it was for the most part it was like nonstop action and a big line, so it was crazy busy. Yeah, it was supposed to be 11 to 8, and then we were going to do a virtual from 9 to 11, and then that got put off, and then these people that had made side deals with limited number of pieces, private signing or whatever, came in, unloaded all this stuff, and I was took care of a lot of people, but also met a lot of cool people. And New York is where it's at. My agent was like, "How come you're so popular in New York?" I said, "Dude, we love RVD." This was like they were fighting for us to move our home of ECW from Philly to New York City because they loved us so much and always gave us so much damn respect. But anyway, that was cool. And while I was there, got a lot of gifts. Some of the gifts came from Green Apple Meds, a dispensary there in New York. And so I just opened this one up. It happens to be called Rolling Thunder. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to roll it and let's try this one on the air. So thank you, Green Apple Meds. I'm about to put a filter in this guy. And then just like always, I'll let it go out continuously as I give long-winded answers.
That's the way to do it, Rob. That's the way to do it. Did you happen to run into what other ECW guys did you?
Yeah, well, let's see. There was Raven and Francine and Roadkill and Chris Chetty and Danny Doring and Sabu and Sandman and Todd Gordon and PJ, Just Incredible.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe one more. Did I say Francine?
Yeah, you said Francine. Yep.
Okay, that might have been it, or I might be.
Was like Shane Douglas there, or
No, that might have been it.
Oh,
everybody did shifts except me. I was there like all day.
Yeah, that's what I remember you saying. You were the resident there, and everybody else was like kind of had their own kind of shifts there.
When someone books me, I usually try to give them a chance to make their money back. You know what I mean? This is crazy. I mean, it was really good turnout.
How tired does your hand get after signing all that stuff? Is it kind of
Yeah, you towards the end, my hand it falls asleep. That's how tired. And but my brain was turning to mush after a while, especially at the very. So it's like 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and we just came back from the diner. We went over there, took a break, and ate. The store was closed now, but there's one guy that had paid for me to sign a bunch of items and stuff, and so I was like, well, all right, I'll try and take care of him, and went over there and I'm signing for a while, and I'm like, dude, like my brain is turning to mush, like it's not even working. I'm forgetting how to spell RVD. I'd be like, it got so bad. I was like, how many items, dude, do you have? And he's like, 150. I was like, oh my god,
holy shit.
It's like doing a whole nother signing. Like a lot of people don't draw 150 at their whole signings if they're there for 3 hours, and this is just a little add-on. And there was a lot of those multiple item people during the signing that were sneaking their stuff in between the line of fans. And so it was a lot of work. If I would have wrestled for AEW, which was in town in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I was asked a little too late if I was able to do it. I would have worked a lot less hard by wrestling and come out better in the pocket too. So, but although a lot of talent would do that, I would never do that to the fans, or to somebody that booked me. But a lot of fans would just be like, yeah, screw this. I got a better opportunity, because they don't think people remember, and they don't care about their reputation, or they don't last too long or get too far in the business when they do that. So,
right, you got to be reliable.
But anyway, everyone knows RVD ain't gonna do that. So
that's why you're one of a kind, Rob. That's why.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, that is rare. I don't know if it's one of a kind, hopefully there's some more people.
There's several of those people that can do that, that have reliability in them. Yeah, guys, if you're listening right now, we are live, and we have a good amount of folks in here. Some usuals, some new people here. Brad Spicoli, Alphonse Ragusa. Man, a lot of different names. If you guys want to get questions in, feel free to ask. Get the super chats in. That always helps charge it up, and we'll definitely get to those.
You're not going to believe this. I got to go grab an ashtray.
Go and grab one. You're A-okay. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining in here. There's some cool stuff. I've been hearing stuff about, let's see, Ghostbusters in here. Thomas V actually says, love your RVDology. I was wondering if you can go over your fitness and nutrition ideology. Talk about that a little off air here, Rob, a little bit.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
We were talking about pre-workout and
that stuff.
Yeah.
I was just mentioning, all I knew about pre-workout pretty much my whole life was just that you take it to hopefully give you energy, and I didn't really know. I guess it's healthier than coffee, but now that I know a lot more, just stuff that I've learned in the last year, I like a pre-workout has to have citrulline in it. Amino acids all have there's over 7,000 different fucking peptides, which are amino acid chains. There's that are, amino acids, a long enough chain makes a protein. Short of a protein is the peptides. And these are great for the body. They come in, you take them, they tell your body what to do, and then they leave. And it's not, like putting a substance in your body, because it's telling your body what to do when it already does it. And it's amino acids. But anyway, citrulline is an amino acid that I learned is if you particularly are interested in vascularity or increasing blood flow, which is basically the same thing. That's citrulline is one. So in pre-workout, I have to have citrulline in it because it's important to me to see my veins popping out like hoses to motivate me during my workout, and so I can see my gains. And I also have citrulline and glutamine and creatine separate, because if the pre-workout and post-workout doesn't have that in it, because I'm taking samples of something that I don't normally have or whatever, or sometimes I'll have so much energy from being geeked up on coffee and maybe a Adipex or something. Sometimes I don't want to take a pre-workout. I'll just take, so sometimes I'll just put the citrulline and insulin amino energy, which is a lot weaker, or even just flavored water sometimes, because I buy these little packets online of sugar-free electrolytes, just little powder that I put in the water. And I don't know, I guess they're probably about $1 a piece. It's I think there's 20 in a bag, and it's roughly $20, but I could be off. But just to add electrolytes to the water, that's something I do too. But anyway, this guy wants to know about working out, which, by the way, I took my pre-workout and I just started working out today and just got warmed up and got a pump, and I had to come in and go to the bathroom, and then I got distracted. That took a minute, and then Dominic already sent me the link to the show, and then pretty soon it's time to do the show. So right now, if you see me sweating, my pre-workout kicking in, I definitely can tell that I'm speaking a lot faster than I normally do. That's because I should be out there busting some curls on the Smith machine right now, which is one of my favorite exercises, to stand there or sit, sometimes with my chest against an incline, and do like a preacher curl kind of position, kind of. But anyway, that's one thing. But as far as working out goes, at 53, my workout has changed a lot. That over the years, I used to just lift super heavy. I would, when I got to WWE, I would bench at least 385, if not 405, like every single bench day, which would be every other chest day, because I would do incline one time and then flat the other time. And anyway, and I would do, every time I would do legs, I would, on my fourth set, I would put 405 on and do 12 deep reps every time. And that would turn a lot of eyes in the gym, because, it's flexible and I'd squat really deep and people would be staring. I don't know if you know that or not. 3 plates bends the bar. 4 plates really bends it and makes it look kind of floppy when you're popping up from a squat. But anyway, now I hardly ever lift heavy. It's more just about the pump. It's about, I don't even do full contractions on a lot of stuff. It's just not necessary. It's about seeing that pump, feeling it, feeling the blood flow into there. Something that I've been trying recently, but I definitely haven't mastered yet. And when I do, I'll talk to you about it. DDP's got these cuffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's it cuts off your blood. I forget what the technical name of it is right now, but
the power cuffs, right?
Yeah, the power cuffs. The idea, the philosophy behind it, it's like blood restriction movements or something like that. And anyway, blood flow restriction. I think maybe that's what it is.
I think that's what it's called, yeah.
And I tell you what, man, I put those things on my arms, get them as tight as I could. My arms hurt so bad doing the lightest weight and doing a lot of reps, because you do a set of 30, wait 30 seconds, 15. Wait 30 seconds, 15. Wait 30 seconds, 15. So you do 4 sets on the exercise with these things on it, and the idea is your veins go towards your heart, and they're flexible. That's why the citrulline helps them expand. I used to think people with really big veins popping out must have bad blood flow. It looked like it was just pressure building up.
Sure.
But now I understand, when you increase the blood flow, you actually stretch your veins out, make them bigger so they can handle more blood. And that's what that is. So it's actually a healthy thing. That's why bodybuilders have veins popping out everywhere. It's not because they're unhealthy. It's the opposite. And but your arteries are something else. Arteries aren't flexible. So you can't stretch them out and make them pop. They're made a lot harder. And the arteries go, the arteries go towards your heart. The veins come out of your heart and into your body and stuff. So with the power cuffs and the blood flow restriction philosophy, you're actually stopping the blood. I think I said it backwards again. Veins go to your heart.
Veins go to the heart.
Yeah.
Okay. And arteries pump out the blood.
Yes. So what happens when you squeeze it and restrict the blood is you're restricting the blood that's coming out of your muscle, but you're not restricting the blood that's coming in.
Oh.
Because the arteries are stiffer, they're not going to be squeezed, and your veins will. So it allows blood to come in but not go out, thus, increasing the blood in there and the pressure. And it's pretty cool. The one thing I don't get about it yet is how it affects the rest of the body, which I've watched videos. I've heard many. It's been around for a while, but DDP has his own brand now. And he sent me some, and I said, dude, I'm going to tell people about it as soon as I wrap my head around it more, because I don't get how putting the power cuffs on my arms how that affects the blood flow in my chest, shoulders, and back. Yeah. But allegedly it does, though. Everyone says it does. But for me, I definitely get it with my arm workouts and with my leg workouts. Holy crap, putting them on my legs, a different pair, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Leg cuffs and arm cuffs. And then doing, 30 squats and then 15. Amazing. And so that's something that's not every workout yet, but I'm working those in, trying to understand that more and more. And mostly I changed my workout a lot when I started watching this guy on YouTube, Ryan. Ryan, what's his name? Dang it. I'll get back to you on that. It's been a while since I've watched him. And Mick Nealer, something like McNeeler, Ryan McNeeler. I'll look that up and I'll get that back to you in case anyone's interested, which obviously they are. But this guy, like, I'm unorthodox in this ring. That's how I found this guy with lifting. Like, everything that I thought I knew about lifting, this guy kind of debunked it. And he's huge. He's jacked.
Huh.
He obviously knows what he's talking about. And he does all these workout videos, and it's kind of entertaining because he jokes throughout all of them and stuff, and he's got a pretty dry, corny sense of humor. Hi, baby.
Baby.
What's up, Katie?
Hey.
How are you?
Good.
That's good. Good to see you.
You too.
Thanks.
And so anyway, that guy really changed my workouts with, made I started doing lighter and more reps, but also stopped doing like the full reps and stopped resting and doing things that I did just because it was formula, and started like, dude, you ready for your next set? Just go. And anyway, I'm going to tell you who he is so that.
Is it Ryan McMillan?
I don't think so. That's
Okay.
also not, no.
I was trying to Google Ryan fitness guy.
Yeah, no, that's a good guess. Well, he's in my subs. Damn, that's a shame. It's been a while since, but I started doing his workouts and subscribed to his phone app and found it really good. But I don't lately. It's been a while since I've done his workouts as well. Hey, there's us, dude. Check that out.
Hey, how about that? Hey, look at that. There we are.
Live. Whoa, there's RVD, and I'm pointing at my phone.
You're pointing at you. That's funny. Brad here says Dr. RVD. Yeah, Rob, you just talked. I got a health lesson from you about the blood flow and all that stuff. Certainly, Dr. RVD indeed. So.
I'm gonna find this dude while we're talking, and but yeah. Anyway, hopefully that helped answer some of the questions as far as working out goes. It's I don't like. I used to be so formula. I used to be like, man, I gotta hit buys and tries and shoulder and chest and back, and I still got to get all that in. But a lot of times I'll just do chest every day, buys every day, instead of worrying about 12 sets of this muscle and moving on to the next one. Sometimes I'll be like, I'm going to do biceps and shoulders today, but to warm up, I'll do 4 or 5 sets of chest or whatever. And for me, it's more about getting that pump and getting that change to where I feel like filled with blood. And getting that, and then it's awesome getting that feel, whatever it takes to get up to that, and then I'll focus on whatever I want to get the most gains on and go like real intense with it.
Right. So if you feel certain, like if doing like a chest would kind of help get you going a little bit, get the blood pumping a little bit, just to work on other stuff, you'll do that if you feel the need to.
Yeah, sure. I will do cable crossovers just to really squeeze and get my chest pumped up. Yeah. Even if I just did bench the day before or whatever. I used to think, oh no, I need at least 48 hours to rest or I'm going to overtrain. Oh, that's what it is. This guy, I'm about to show you because I'm on my I'm on my subs here, but this guy said he doesn't believe in overtraining. That was the one thing that Ryan Humiston, Humiston. Hopefully I get you some subscribers, Ryan. But he's always said that he doesn't believe in overtraining, and I was like, I think he's right. And he, and he was answering questions one time, and he said, Ryan, what do you think about overtraining? And he went, do it. Like he said, I challenge you to overtrain. Your body can really handle a lot more than you think it can and will adapt to it. And he said, even if you are able to achieve it, you're probably going to get some results, which is better than the shitty workout you were doing before.
Right. Yeah. Even if you're just doing a little bit each day and stuff like that, that accumulates over time and you get consistency going.
Ryan Humiston.
Yeah.
And I do, and cardio is important, of course, but sometimes I'll skip it. But it's important, especially because I'm not wrestling every day and I got to have my cardio up so I can still get in the ring and wrestle, even if it's been, 2, 3, 4 months sometimes. So, but cardio is always important anyway. I mean, the heart, first off, having a strong heart is important. We don't want to die of a heart attack, but also that sets the rate for everything, for your metabolism, how your body processes what you eat, everything. It all starts with having a good cardiovascular system. And I mix it up, but I like to do mine in a sauna.
Yeah. Do you do like an elliptical or anything, or how do you usually? What's your best form? What's your most preferred form of cardio? I guess, if you will.
Yeah. So it's I have a stack of steps in my sauna, and so in my sauna is 120 to 140 degrees. In the summer, it'll get to 160. But I'm in there, and I'll do at least 300 steps. Up both feet, down both feet, up both feet, down both feet, and I'll do them in sets of 50. And it's up to me to set the pace. So I can like rush the whole thing up, down, up, down, or I could start out slower and then speed up, or however I want to break it up. And a lot of that depends on if I have a match coming up and need to work harder. Sometimes I'll set let's do another 100, let's do 400 today, but I'll do it. And then, I try to blow myself up at the end of every set that I do. And then when I get off of it, I don't allow myself to rest. Instead, I start working on my speed bag.
Yeah.
So that's my preferred cardio.
Well, how about that? Wow. Everybody take some notes. I hope you took some notes. You can go back and listen to this episode and then write some stuff down.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I put his name too, that Ryan Humiston, in the chat here so people can see it. And subscribe to his channel.
Yeah, check him out. He's entertaining, and he really knows a lot of his shit, and he's jacked, so look at him and it's like, yeah, I mean, but the stuff that he says, he's a nonconformist. So right away, I was like, oh my God, this guy's great. He's the opposite of traditional teachings. And so I tried it, first-hand experience, loved it.
That's what I like too about DDP yoga or DDPY is like, he doesn't use weights. And like, I use weights now. I go weightlifting and all that stuff now, but it's like all, your own body dynamic resistance and stuff like that. And I really enjoy it.
After I started watching Ryan Humiston videos, I very rarely do less than 15 reps on a set.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll be real slow, even if it's curls, it might be like really, really slow, just, or it might just be like really focusing on the negative, it's more about just getting that blood in there, feeling that blood pump in there, and seeing it, like it's, there's a big difference for me when I get in the gym and look in the mirror, and then, 10 minutes later when I'm pumped, huge difference. It's amazing.
That's awesome. I'm definitely going to look into this a little bit more too, Rob. We got some super chats here. Seth, before he couldn't make the show today, but he did leave us $20. Thank you, Seth.
Seth, too much.
Man.
Man, we're trying to.
We'll get that back. We'll get the song back here one way or another. He says, "Have an awesome show. I'm at rehearsal right now. I sent this in earlier. I received my RVD green bud hat and love it. Also, A Little Higher is out now on iTunes and everywhere. By the way, the RVD chant in the song is actually from is it Hardcore Heaven 1999, I believe. So
okay, good to know.
Nice.
That's awesome. I love the song, and everybody
check it out. Go to iTunes and go to Spotify and look at it, or you can hit his YouTube channel too. But just check out VBDC Venus Beach. I think you can type it in, and that it should pop up. Then I think that's how I found it too. So.
Dude, maybe we should be a platform for like listeners that make music. Like if they want to send us different stuff and we just try it, different stuff.
Yeah, why the heck not? I think that's a good idea. Yeah. You guys want to lay down an RVD track or something that vibes well? Yeah, hit it over to me. Send it to me. Send it to let me see, dpdangelo@gmail.com. Hit me over there, and I'll be happy to filter through them.
I used to want to do that with my Twitter, have some kind of, I don't know if it'd be a contest. I never developed it. It was just half a thought.
Yeah.
I was thinking, the idea was, what would you do with your Twitter if you had 1 million followers?
Oh, yeah.
And hey, somehow, something, boom, guess what? I'll fucking post your tweet. And anyway, I didn't really know what to do with it, but it was something that I thought might be cool for the fans, I don't know.
You get a little of them self-promotion or whatever it may be. That's pretty cool. I like that. Next super chat we have here is 95 North Falcons Talk Show. Thank you for the $10. He says, "Hey, Rob and Dominic. Rob, is today's style of wrestling less demanding than it was back in the day? How do you kind of balance that out, Rob, in regards to the style of wrestling is a lot more athletic and, faster paced and a little more risky sometimes, but you guys wrestled a lot more too."
I think that it is not less demanding. That's my initial thought. Maybe if I thought about this for 20 minutes, maybe I would feel different. But, just exploring my brain, I'm thinking about the difference in style. And it's kind of, first off, someone like me, I always put so much demand and stress on myself. You got to be a self-perfectionist, I think, to actually make it as far as I did in the industry. And that means there's no room for error. I do not forgive myself if I err. And that could just be the simplest thing. I would beat myself up. Not as much anymore if I slipped or something. Maybe now I could be like, oh, well, okay. All right, I went to jump to the top and wasn't quite able to make it. But at least I recovered and, was able to, fucking land on the top and second, get whatever. I put upon myself, that kind of stress and demand. But, I learned to wrestle in front of the ECW crowd, and they're waiting also for you to not be able to jump up all the way to the top rope and land on the second rope so they can say, you fucked up, you fucked up. That was a lot of pressure. That was a lot of intense, especially if I wanted to come across graceful and perfect like I did. So that was very difficult. Today, I still feel like I got to come across that way. I still feel like I got to prove myself every time I'm in the ring. With this match I just had on AEW inspired a lot of people, and a lot of people were so happy to see that I can still move. But just imagine, what if I would have had an off night? What if I would have twisted my ankle the night before or something and didn't come across looking quite so spectacular? The fans then would make it a fact that I couldn't go anymore the way that I used to. Even if I was sick, had a stomach ache, and it affected the way that I moved, there's no room for error. Even now, even after 30-some years of busting my ass like I have in the ring, I still have to back up my reputation every single time I'm in the ring. So there's no less demand when it comes to the job, and now a lot of it is more set up than it was before, as far as the guys preparing for what they're going to do out there, as opposed to calling it on the fly, which could be easier, especially if you were in there with someone that was really good, that could lead you through a match, when you're on your way up, listening and learning. That could be a lot easier than going out there now and trying to remember, 25 minutes worth of spots and trying to think about being in the, thinking of the whole, not the story as far as, you're a good guy, you're a bad guy, you're, cheating. That's the story that needs to come across. But the focus has gone from that to the particulars of, chop, 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 duck, chop, duck, chop, 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 chop. And so, that has its own demand.
I've seen it plenty of times too, like when I'm backstage at certain events. There's so many guys or gals like rehearsing the whole match over, what they're doing and everything like that. And it's like not focusing, they're not thinking about how the crowd's going to react and how you're going to react in time, to tell that story and get that point across to.
It doesn't even, it doesn't really go through their mind. And then later on at the end, you got to try and look at the whole picture and see, like what did you guys just paint there?
Yeah.
Sometimes it works out good, but it's different in that way.
It's very different. Yep. Jem the Dawn, a regular here. He says, if you had to move somewhere out of the United States, Rob, where would you move to?
Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Everyone's nice in Canada, and they have free health care and Tim Hortons, and I can see where that could have, and they love marijuana.
Good comedy scene there too in Canada. Good comedy scene.
But a little cold for my
Yep.
taste. Man, I would really have to think about it a lot, but I always thought that I would like living in Amsterdam. I really think it's a cool little town. I love the canals, and it's different because it's like there's block after block after block, like New York City, but instead of a bunch of cars honking and stuff, there's like boats and bikes and it's really interesting. I like the free spirit. I love the free spirit over there. Again, though, their weather has quite a range. They would definitely be in the top pick. Probably not a big surprise to most fans. But it used to be you had to go to Amsterdam to smoke. That ain't the reason anymore to go all the way to the fucking Netherlands because it ain't that way anymore. But it used to be you had to go all the way there and everyone knew it. That was the place to go where smoking was legal. And what a crazy world that was, IMO, in my opinion. But I think ultimately I would have to look for a place that would be more beachy, more tropical, without the humidity. And so out of the places that I've been, man, I don't really know. I don't know where that would.
How nice is Greece?
Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii would be good. Well, that's
the
US,
United States, though. Yeah, that's not. It's off the mainland, but that probably doesn't count. So I don't. That's a really good question, and I would consider Amsterdam, and then I would probably also consider like the Canary Islands, and I don't know if I'd consider Jamaica. Maybe
Jamaica wouldn't be bad.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm always paranoid about like hurricanes. That's what I get worried about if I was out on that kind of shit.
Definitely a worthy opponent.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of worthy opponents, Rob. Man, it seems anybody you compete with or against in AEW gets a world title shot. Swerve this week, he earned a world title shot against Samoa Joe. Him and Hangman Page. There's going to be a triple threat match coming up at AEW Revolution, the same pay-per-view that Sting is having his last match on. It's a triple threat. How do you feel about triple threat matches, Rob? Yeah.
I feel like they're okay, I guess. I guess I don't like them as being in them as much as a tag match because the story is just so different and it just seems like a lot of the spots get played out, the triple dome of terror, triple tower dome terror, whatever the fuck you call it, where you do the double powered bomb out of the corner.
That thing, yeah.
It's like, man, it used to be cool, but then I've seen it done 100 times, and then it's all right, but it's usually like, as the agenda, I don't have the spotlight on me the whole time. A third of the time or so, I might be on the floor, selling while some other action is going on, and got to have my timing in there real quick to make a save or something. But I can't be standing on the apron like a tag match where I can see it. I got to not be looking at it and still be in there in time to make a save, and that can be rough. So, I don't hate them, like a battle royal. Battle royal is my least favorite match. Then. Not only is the spotlight not on me because it's on a couple other people, it's on 18 other people or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're all, doing whatever to look busy, but not my favorite art form. That's my opinion. I think that it can be intriguing and can be fun. It's not my least favorite match, but overall, I feel like if I'm put in a three-way triple threat match, I feel like expectations are going to be high.
Mm-hmm.
And then I automatically wonder, like, can we come up with stuff that's so different that it meets those expectations? I don't know.
Where would you rank a fatal four-way in comparison to a triple threat? Is that a better match because you have another quote unquote like dance partner basically that you guys can kind of separate one another and work almost a single style in a certain way or how do you balance that out really?
I guess no. I wouldn't think that's better. I think the further you get away from a singles match or a tag match, the less I as a performer want to do it. I feel like if I'm in a fatal four-way, I'm going to partner up with you. We're going to take a walk through the crowd. You know what I mean? And fuck off and go fight in the chairs and stuff, which is okay and fine. And if the audience likes it better, then cool. But I when it comes to being a 25% of the match and what people are watching, or being, all or at least half of what people are watching, I'd rather feel like my time is more invested better when I can tell a story with the action here the way everyone can understand it. So yeah, I think the further you get away from a singles or tag match, for me, then I think the less I look forward to it. Even though in the end, of course, we pull off some bangers, as the kids today call it.
Kids say today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the stakes feel higher when it's like an elimination style, kind of like if you have a fatal four-way, that's elimination style. Then you get to the one-on-one aspect and you can tell more of a story. And I think that's a lot more intriguing than just like, hey, somebody gets pinned and the match is over.
True. Yeah. Could be good.
Yeah, could be good. So, regards to Swerve, you worked with him, obviously. You had that great match in the main event match. You see him, he's such a popular star right now. Do you see him as a world title person, somebody that could carry AEW as a company?
Sure. I'm looking around the dressing room, and I'm thinking, why not Swerve? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a promoter. What do you want in a champion? Swerve's great wrestler, great character, cool dude. Fans love him. He's going to give you good matches. Is he the most famous or well-known person on your roster? No, but obviously that's very seldomly the number one goal for any promoter, but it is a factor because you want to sell tickets. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, if Sting was the heavyweight champion and there was a conversation about AEW anywhere and people didn't know what it was, if they were like, who's a champion? And they'd say Sting, they'd have a lot better chance of being like, oh, okay, yeah, you guys sound like, wow, you got Sting? Yeah, we got Big Show, But obviously it's not about the legends. They often are the ones that have more recognition because they've already been there and they're still around. But I don't know who's held the AEW belt, and I'm sure, not to talk down on anybody, but I'm sure it's probably been held by lesser wrestlers than Swerve is, and he's on a great path either way, And I like what Bubba said. I saw a little clip of Bubba Dudley saying RVD moved Swerve forward because we had that kick-ass match. I thought it was great. I understood the assignment, came in to punish him, hardcore style. He was able to turn the tables on me, and boom, that does move him forward. How does it not? not every match is going to be able to do that, even if he's able to have a good match with anybody. But then I think if he was champion, that the people would be behind him and be pretty stoked.
Yeah, it's kind of neat too. This past week on Dynamite, he fought Hangman Page to a time limit draw, and essentially it was basically a double turn where Swerve basically turned babyface and Hangman.
Was he a heel? I didn't even know.
He was a heel. Like fans were so into him though that he felt like a babyface. So there was a motivation to get that. So they pulled the trigger, I guess, this past week.
And they both switched.
They did like a double turn where.
Now was Hangman Page champion?
He was previously, yes, he was.
So yeah, so why not Swerve?
Why not Swerve for sure? And it's a well set up. Joe's been a great champion so far, so it'll be interesting to see how they kind of unfold that at Revolution coming up here.
Samoa Joe could keep it and still be the champion moving forward, right?
For sure.
That's always a high possibility.
And you could further tell a story between him and Swerve specifically too, if you'd like, moving down the road. So pretty interesting. Hey Rob, we got some new sponsors. Pretty cool stuff here. One of them is Factor, guys. Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals make eating better every day easy. Wherever tomorrow takes you, be ready with pre-prepared, chef-crafted, and dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. You'll have over 35 different options a week to choose from, including keto, calorie smart, vegan, and veggie, and more. There's even more to enjoy with over 55 nutrition-packed add-ons that help make your weekly meal planning even more delicious. What are you waiting for? Get started today and have a feel-good week of meals ready to go. There's 2-minute meals. Fuel up fast with Factor's restaurant quality meals that are ready to heat wherever you are. Snacks, smoothies, and more. Discover a wide variety of easy options for the entire day, like breakfast, midday bites, and more. Sign up and save. We've done the math. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. Save on that Grubhub. Factor is perfect solution for you. Looking for fast, upscale options done easily, flexible for your schedule. Get as much or as little as you need by choosing 6 to 18 meals per week. Plus, you can pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. No prep, no mess meals. Factor meals are 100% ready to heat and eat, so there's no prepping, cooking, or cleanup needed. Guys, if you want to do this and you want to help out the podcast, head to factormeals.com/RVD50 and use code RVD50 to get 50% off. That's code RVD50 at factormeals.com/RVD50 to get 50% off. So do that and you'll help out the pod. You'll eat healthy. Rob was talking about that workout regimen. You can get all that implemented and hey, you'll feel good about yourself. So hey, there we go.
Yeah, I mentioned it to Katie earlier when you told me about this new sponsor, and she's excited. She said she wanted to try the Factor Foods.
Nice. You got the form and everything that I sent you to fill out?
No.
I'll send it to you again. You just fill out a form, and they'll send you some stuff, Rob. So.
Did you email it to me?
I did. I forwarded you.
I might have it. I haven't seen it.
That's okay. Yeah, I can ping you again too. And yeah, they can send you some stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to get mine too and try it out. I know my brother, I think Marcus tried it out. He likes it a lot. So
cool. So by the way, as far as that goes, when I eat, for me, my main goal is to try to get 50 grams of protein. Okay. And I try to get 0 sugar.
Now, Rob, is that a day? 50 grams?
No, that's per intake.
Per intake. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So for instance, if I have sugar-free protein, or once in a while it might have 1 gram of which makes a big difference in the flavor, but I go for 0. But I do eat grapes and bananas, and fruit has sugar in it, which depending on how picky you want to be, it is still sugar. And then some things that I get, like I'll eat peanut butter that might have 2 grams of sugar, and to get the 8 grams of protein in it in a scoop. But so for me, it's 50 grams per intake, and I try to do that 6 times a day Sometimes I get in 7, and that can be protein for me. Like the protein I'm talking about, I dry scoop it. You know what I mean? I take it and then I put the water in my mouth, gulp, and it's 25 grams of protein per scoop. So 2 scoops is what? Boom, that's a meal.
Yeah.
2 scoops of protein, see in a few hours. And I alternate, and then next time I'll eat food, you know? And when I eat the food, I'm trying to get as close to 50 grams as I can. You know, sometimes, you know, if you eat I don't know, you might grab a chicken breast sandwich and boom, it's only got 35 grams. Well, sometimes it is what it is. But if I'm home and have the option, then I might go ahead and take a spoonful or 2 of some Greek yogurt, and then boom, okay, now I made it, or something like that. But I don't care about fat. I don't eat a lot of fat, but it's not something that I even look at anymore. I used to a long time ago when I first started looking at the labels and stuff, but now I look at the protein and I look at the sugar.
Do you look at calories at all?
No.
No.
I have no idea how many calories I get.
Okay. So you do it 6 times a day, you say? Like you try?
Yeah. So then there's 300 grams of protein. So I'll get up and I'll usually I'm still fasting when I get up for a couple hours. I'll start drinking coffee, smoke a couple dubs, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I might break my fast with protein powder, or what I usually use is kachava, which is like a meal replacement protein powder. The bad thing about that is that 2 scoops of that only has 25 grams of protein. That's the only drawback, but it tastes great, and it's loaded with all kinds of other stuff. It does have some sugar in it, but that's because it has all these acai berries and all these fruits and all these what do you call it? It's got a lot of good stuff in it anyway, and it's a whole meal replacement. It's called kachava. The ads sold it on me, and I get like 4 bags a month of it sent to me because I eat it. A lot of times I'll eat 3 or 4 scoops because I want the 50 grams of protein, and sometimes I say, well, you know, I got 20. I'll make them really big. I got like 30 grams. That's going to be okay, and then I'll eat in a couple hours or something. So that's how I usually wake up. If I don't have to be anywhere, I'll wait a couple hours, drink some coffee, and then I'll take a few scoops of kachava, and then a couple hours after that, then I'll eat some actual food, and then boom, guess what? If I have protein and then lunch, and then protein and then dinner, I've done it 6 times. I might get another protein in before I go to bed. Then I got 350 grams of protein. And for me, that's like winning, you know what I mean? It's between 3. I try to get at least 3. If I get 350, then it's been a really good protein intake for me. And especially like when I'm working out, then I try to get more. If I'm didn't work out today because I just flew in from New York City and I'm tired or whatever, I don't give myself a hard time on the eating as much. You know, I'll be like, yeah, you know, I don't need it. I didn't burn it.
Well, how about when you're on the road? How do you adjust your diet when you're like flying and you're traveling and doing all this other shit that you're not necessarily that stuff not's like immediate to you and you don't have?
Right. Well, like yesterday, I brought my kachava. You know, I always bring protein with me, protein powder, and protein bars. You know, the protein bars that I eat are sugar free, and they got 20 grams of protein in it. So sometimes I'll eat 2 of those. That's a whole meal, 40 grams, close enough. You know. And that's usually pretty convenient. At this signing we were at in Queens, there's no room. It's so tight. There's not even room for us and the fans in there. And then this guy that's got a restaurant brings us all this food, you know, chicken parmesan and spaghetti.
Have some of this.
Yeah. We were walking down the block looking for something. And Katie and I ended up putting our food right there on the sidewalk. We put our food on like the top, like a ledge on someone's wall of their yard, and stood there like it was at a bar and we're eating. And I was like, man, she is such a down bitch. I think I love her a little more for that. So I was like, man, that's cool. You don't mind. She said, hey, in the business, you got as long as you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, find somebody that'll eat on a ledge with you.
Yeah, she's looking all fine with her, tight dress, all done up for the signing. And then we're standing on the sidewalk with like styrofoam lunches on the bottom of the fence, on somebody's wall on an uphill yard, and people are walking by like, hey, yeah,
hey, what's happening? Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing like that, huh? Well, something else I wanted to cover. Rob, did you happen to see the WrestleMania kickoff press conference or any clips of it by chance?
Yeah, I saw just very little. I saw a little clip. I think I saw Rock smack Cody and then it cut off, so I don't know how he reacted or anything.
Yeah, so it was like a pull apart basically after that.
Oh, okay.
But what happened ended up going down is it's official for WrestleMania. It's Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns now. So they did.
Oh, really? Why?
They pivoted.
Okay.
I guess the blowback that they were kind of receiving was because the one video of Rock kind of taking that mantle got like the most dislikes ever for WWE on it.
That is so crazy to think that the fans could have possibly dictated a change in the main event for WrestleMania. Like I got asked, I got interviewed at the signing in Queens yesterday, and I guess we came home yesterday, so it was the night before. But they asked what I thought about that whole situation, and I said that I agree with what I heard The Rock say on an interview, and he said hashtag Cody Crybaby.
Cody Crybaby.
I said I agree. I mean, to me, that is the fans hijacking the show. And as a performer, I've never been a fan of when the fans hijack the show. I feel like they're not complaining because boo, because the heel won. They're complaining because they think they could have wrote a better angle that could have drawn more money than the people that are doing it, that are running a billion-dollar company. So that's how I always look at it. And also, it reminds me of when me and Jerry Lynn were in the ring one time about to start a match, or maybe we'd run through a spot or two, but we're early on, and the crowd starts, there's a girl, hot girl, looked like, up in the crowd, like, do you want to see it? You want to see it? And everyone's like, show your tits. Show your tits. And that was going around at that time in ECW. That was something that would happen a lot. But when me and Jerry are in the ring working our asses off, it's very insulting to us.
Right.
And so we just stopped. You know what I mean? I went and sat up on the top rope in the corner and just, said, let me, wait, I'm going to wait till these guys are done. And then she looked at me and she was like, pointed at me and she was like, should I, and pointed at me and put it all on me. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, I got a really insecure, jealous wife. I'm so pissed if I said yes. Oh my God. Do it. I really did want to see them, but I felt, I felt like I would be somehow disrespecting my insecure, jealous wife if I was like, show your tits, just because she would give me hell anyway.
Right. No matter what, that's
either way, I would get hell from her.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose situation there.
Right. But anyway, to the point that I'm making, it's just like I'm having a match, and during the match, if people start chanting, "We want tables," that's very insulting to me. Unless I'm giving you tables, or unless I've built it to a way where I'm trying to get you to chant that. Like maybe if I flip the skirt of the ring open, look underneath it and look at the crowd, and hey, you guys, open it up or something. I'm asking you guys to chant, "We want tables." If in my mind, I'm about to run through this technical spot in the ring, and I want everyone to pay attention to the split, drop down, leapfrog, fucking arm drag, head scissor, body scissor, fuck you scissor. I don't want everyone going, we want tables through that. To me, that's the fans hijacking the show. And from what I know about the Cody Crybabies, which isn't a whole lot, but I think I know enough to have an opinion on it. I feel like it's them hijacking the show.
Yeah, I mean, a certain way. I think the argument that people make is that they've been setting up a story for Cody, like
the story.
To finish the story for him and things like that. But I mean, this story between The Rock and Roman Reigns has been going longer than the Cody angle, actually, if you think about it, because people have been talking about, hey, when are we going to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns? And that's been going on for years. So, I mean, there's the argument
two things on that. One, I love Cody, and he's a great baby face. I love the way people are behind him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but he is not a bigger star than The Rock.
Yeah.
And if you're going to put, the biggest star possible in your main event at WrestleMania, the biggest show all year, there's nobody bigger than The Rock. He's the biggest star in the industry. Second, you incorporate it anyway, and this is part of Cody's story. How about before Cody makes it out to the ring, how about The Rock comes out and jumps him, and then he goes out and wrestles Roman Reigns anyway? Either way, you incorporate all of it, and that is the story. Life is giving you the story.
Right. Yeah, and like what you were saying too, people, even if you don't give the fans what they want, that's good for Cody because it boosts him up even more, like moving on forward to it. And that's just part of the story that's going on. Now, what it seems like, Rob, is what they're doing is maybe night one, that people are speculating, and WWE released a video too, where it's kind of leading to an indication that maybe night one of WrestleMania will have Roman Reigns tag with The Rock against Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. And then night two will feature Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the title. That's kind of what people are thinking at the moment. So
there you go.
Yeah. So that's how it is right there. Guys, we have another sponsor too, and it was a new one from last week. It is Get Blitzed. It's THC infused nano drink aid, and it is Delta 9. I thought it was Delta 8 last week, but it's Delta 9, guys. Get that right. So, but yeah, different flavors they have, a whole bunch of them, from key lime pie. I know that's Kevin Nash's favorite. And then they also have cherry. They have pina colada. Oh, man, like that song. And then the blue raz, and then tiger's blood. So check them all out there. If you go to get-blitz.com, use promo code RVD. That's simple, RVD, to get 15% off.
How do you spell that?
I think it's R and then a V, and then
they mail them to you, huh?
And then they mail them to you.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I'm still waiting on mine. I think though, Rob, I think my cat stole them. So, but I can't wait to try it when I get those. When I do get them. So, but yeah, all you need too is what Mickey Ray Sinatra and his fiance Courtney were talking about. You only need a teaspoon of it, and then you just sip on it. And hey, it kicks in about 5 to 15 minutes. So pretty cool stuff. I'm excited to try it once I get it. And yeah, you guys too. Use it. Get-blitz.com. Promo code RVD. So check that out, guys. Check it out. Cool, Rob. We're going to keep this one a little shorter this week because we're double timing it this week. But I did want to get your thoughts on this. Did you hear about Mick Foley saying he wanted one last match, actually?
Yes, so, I saw something. I think I saw the headline, you know, something like that, and heard a little inside chatter on it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so here's the quote, and he said this on his last episode of Foley's podcast. Him and Conrad wrapped up their show, and he said, 60 is right around the corner. Thinking of doing one final match for my 60th birthday, a death match. And he says, I'm not kidding. I think it would be a great incentive to drop those 100 big ones, and I think it might be fun. And so there's a lot of speculation of who he might be facing, from like Matt Cardona to some other people too, and very interesting. man, Rob, what a send-off he would have at 60 years old. It's been forever since Foley's wrestled, so pretty interesting to kind of think about.
Yeah, when I saw that, I thought my first thought was, dude, that should be me.
Yeah,
that'd be a huge draw because we have never wrestled each other, and we're both, kings of hardcore. So there was a time, I believe, when our paths were about to cross, and one of us was chicken shit. Unless he's watching this, then no offense. If he's watching, I'm just joking. If he's not watching, if you remember in TNA, the first run when I was there, and Hogan and Bischoff were the heels, and I was working against them. Abyss was representing them, and Hogan was, for some reason, with Abyss out at ringside. That was the night that I busted Abyss's teeth open, bam, in his mouth. During all that time, Abyss kept doing all these promos about they. Do you remember that? They was the subject of what he was talking about, and they was whoever was giving him orders. They told me to do it. And it was always like, they were always building up. Well, who is they, right?
Yeah.
So a little birdie told me that the idea, or one idea anyway, if not the original idea, was that they was going to end up being Mick Foley, and it was going to set up for a match between RVD and Mick Foley.
Oh shit!
And I was told that one of us didn't want to do that match. Yeah. But that might have been right after I busted Abyss's
teeth out.
Wow, honestly, it could have been, because I got the impression that was why, was that I was known to be stiff, but I don't know. Right now, that doesn't seem. I mean, he wrestled Vader.
Yeah, he's wrestled some real stiff guys.
So I don't know, but for whatever reason, I was told that he turned it down, and then I don't know if they ever did disclose who they was.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I do remember Abyss saying that, actually. So
yeah,
wow. Pretty intriguing. Well, guys, if you would like to see RVD face Foley, may get the word out a little bit. I think that would be a hell of a last match to throw down, man. Yeah, it's so weird because you're synonymous with ECW, and Foley was really synonymous with ECW in a lot of ways. So it's pretty crazy to think that you guys never even fucking crossed paths in the match.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say we never crossed paths.
Yeah.
No, I guess, but we did in well. The only time I can think of really is in like a battle royal at an indie show in Georgia, Peach State Wrestling, when I was the Cordele City champion.
Oh shit!
There was a battle royal, and man, Mick Foley was in it, Raven was in it. I'm pretty sure Van Hammer was in it.
Van Hammer, nice.
Maybe Steiner. There was a lot of stars in this fucking Disco Inferno. Yeah, there was a lot of stars in this battle royal, and that might be the only time that I've actually been in the ring. If we were even in the ring at the same time, but I think we were. It was a battle royal, not Royal Rumble.
Damn.
So we were all in the ring at the same time. But Tony Atlas might or might not have been in that one. But yeah, that match has just never happened, and obviously, dude. But while we're talking about it, this is very relevant. When I was in WWE and I won, well, even before I got to WWE, like when I started watching the product before I got there, I was a little insulted by the Hardcore Championship,
right?
Because I felt like they were kind of making fun of ECW, right? And so no offense to Crash, but he would do things to make them laugh. They would fight in the pit of balls, for the kids to play in, and knock the taco cart over and fight at weird places. And when I won the WWE Hardcore Championship, I was Rob Van Dam. Just kept being me, and having great fucking matches, and I loved it because it was just like being an ECW, almost, 80%, maybe 85%, like being an ECW, with the difference of having a time limit and a little bit more structure, at least in the expectations. You couldn't, go down the hallway. Well, anyway, people were loving the matches. Pretty soon, I'm main eventing house shows, what they called live action shows. Is that what they call them?
Live events now they call them.
Yeah, live events, yeah. But with the Hardcore Championship, I'm main eventing because they had at one time A, B, and C shows. They had so much talent spread out with the invasion and this influx of talent from WCW and ECW. And so I would be main eventing, and that was not the plan for the Hardcore Championship. They didn't want it to mean that much, and I was making it mean a lot, just like when I was in ECW, I made the TV championship mean as much as the heavyweight championship in ECW. And it was my goal to keep doing that and to build those up separately. And then one day, of course, wrestle. And I was hoping it would be Mike Awesome, the ECW heavyweight champion, as the television champion, which would have had just as much momentum or more. It held just as much weight prospectively. I was doing that with the Hardcore title. If anybody doesn't know my perspective on it, that's what I was doing, and I was fucking loving it. And then it meant too much. So that wasn't their plan. So what do? They retire it. They retire the fucking championship while I'm wearing it, while I'm having these kick-ass matches. Me and Tommy Dreamer had a match, I think, to retire it, and if I remember right. But it was also unifying it with the...
Yeah, with the Intercontinental. It was with the Intercontinental.
And anyway, did they give me the Hardcore title? Do I have that hanging in my Rob Van Dam room of outstanding fucking accomplishments and memorabilia? No. You know who has that Hardcore Championship?
Is it Mick?
Mick Foley.
Well, how about that?
They gave it to him for whatever he did with it before I got there. So deep inside, there's a little bit of resentment on my behalf. Not resentment, but I would like to have it.
You would like to have it. And Rob, I mean, you fucking retired it.
So. Not resentment, jealousy, maybe.
Well, I mean, hey, let's get that belt a little out there again. See what happens. See what happens, guys.
Fun story. Speaking of fun stories, there's a couple of things I wrote down that I wanted to.
Yeah, by all means.
And I was going to tell you to ask me about them, but instead, so one of them was when Sabu and I and Judge Dredd and Dango were all in USWA in 1991, the summer of 91. We were brand new in the business, we were babies. 20 years old, not even old enough to drink. One night in Nashville at the Congress Inn, a wrestler named Brickhouse Brown came to our room, and he sat down on the bed and he said, "Gather around, man. I'm gonna smarten you guys up to this industry that you guys are getting into. I'm gonna tell you what you're really doing, And he said, you got a lot of talent. You guys have a good chance to, really make it far. You need to know this." And he proceeded to tell us a story about him being in an elevator in WWE with Patterson, and he said, well, he went on to specifically, because I rewatched an interview with Brickhouse Brown, and the words that he used were what stood out to me for a reason. Because he said that Pat said to him, "You can make a lot of money here, kid." And then he said that on the elevator that I think Pat hit the button to stop the elevator and said, depends on what decisions that you make and how far you want to go and how important it is to you. And then he started undoing Brickhouse Brown's belt on his pants.
Oh, geez.
Brickhouse grabbed his pants, said something defensive, like, fuck no, I don't do that. Opened the door and ran out. He said he fucking ran. And boom, lo and behold, he was let go afterwards, right? And so anyway, Brickhouse Brown was telling us this story. And he was telling us about Mel Phillips, about the ring announcer who was molesting the ring boys.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And he was telling us about the steroids, and he was telling us about Terry Garvin. And throughout my whole career, like, I always reflect back on that, like, I hadn't seen him in forever. This is 91.
Mm-hmm.
But I always think, like, man, I wonder why he took that upon himself to smarten the four of us up, take his time. Anyway, it was pretty impactful on us. In fact, I remember afterwards, I went to, I told my mom about this, you know what I mean? That's how young I was. And after USWA dried up, I ended up going to South Atlantic Pro Wrestling in Charlotte. And there was a couple of guys that were really nice. I was only there for a very short time, but there was a wrestler house, right? Mm-hmm. A couple of guys, Tommy Angel and Gino, Jeff Husker. I'm blanking on the other name, but I do pretty good, so I'm going to give myself.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, nonetheless, Rob.
These guys said, we had a roommate at our house that just moved out, Rob. If you want, you can got an extra bed or whatever. And so, I told my mom that on the phone, and she was worried because what I told her about Brickhouse Brown.
Yeah.
And she was like, they're not gay, are they? And and I remember, like, after I talked to her when I was at the arena, I was so young, I repeated that to Tommy Angel. Like, I was in the bathroom, and he said, hey, did you give any thought to that about, if you're going to want to take that our extra room or not or whatever? And I was like, you guys aren't gay, are you? And I was like, I was half joking, but then afterwards, looking back at it, I was like, man, that was really like a mean thing for me to, and it didn't matter if they were gay, but that was just what my mom had said based on the story of the gay wrestlers that were using their authority, to manipulate people's careers. So it's not about the gay part, but that's just the way it was worded. But I always look back at that and it's like, man, those guys are really cool to offer me that. What an asshole thing to say to them. But I was just really young, and like I said, halfway joking. I didn't even know how to wash dishes. I was so young. Didn't know, they were like, Rob, can you help out a little bit? And I was like, I think I'm gonna move out. And but anyway, that always stuck in my mind. A couple of years ago at Cauliflower Alley Club, we got to meet Brickhouse Brown shortly before he died. And, he was blind and sick. And he asked me, do I remember that time that he sat? Remember that, baby?
Yeah.
She knows. She was there with me. Do I remember that? And I'm like, you remember? Why the fuck would you remember that? You've seen pictures of me when I started out, had the short blonde hair, the blue trunks. That wasn't Rob Van Dam. I didn't think he would even remember I was that same kid. Why the fuck would he? But he was like, do you remember that time you guys came through Nashville? And he said, I sat you guys down and I told you all this stuff. And then he goes, it all came out, didn't it? It all came out later. And I was like, yeah, and I mean, we didn't doubt you. We knew you were shooting us straight. The reason that those words were so relevant recently, that when I re-listened to his interview, when I got to WWE in 2001, Pat Patterson was working there. He had been rehired. He was keeping himself, behaving. A lot of the popular wrestlers really liked him, said what a good guy he was, got along with him. firsthand experience, nothing was happening to me. So it was weird to think back about these crimes that are alleged and to think about how could anybody be okay with associating with these people. But sometimes it's just like it is what it is, and sometimes you can't control everybody that's in the room. And anyway, I remember one time in Pittsburgh, I was at the Mellon Arena.
Yeah, home of the Penguins.
Yes, sir. I was at the urinal taking a piss. And who walks in behind me with Pat Patterson?
Yeah.
You know what he says to me?
Didn't he say the same thing that he said to Brickhouse? Wow.
Kid, you're going to make a lot of money here. You're going to make a lot of money here, kid. And I said, if you say so. And he said, well, wait a minute. What? I don't like the sound of that. I said, yeah, I don't either. And he said, what you're telling me right now is that you don't believe in yourself. I said, no, I believe in me. I just don't know if I believe that they're going to pay me a lot and that I'm going to get a lot of money here. And I was particularly pissed because I had just gotten like my first check shortly before that. And I got my first house show was in Atlanta with Johnny. What's Johnny Stompanato? Not Johnny Stompanato. That's a mobster. That was Johnny Stompanato was anyway.
You don't want to be in the ring with him.
Johnny the Bull.
Oh, Johnny the Bull Stamboli. Okay.
Stamboli, not Stompanato. That's why I went there. Atlanta house show, WWE. Mm-hmm. Johnny the Bull, and my money was $500. And I mean, I don't like to talk about money a lot, but throw another zero on that. I was getting that before I went to WWE. Wow, so this is what I'm getting now, And anyway, things got a little better with the money, but the point was just when I heard those words recently of Rick House Brown saying, I think he said that it was almost the same. I think he said, you can make a lot of money here, kid. And I think to me, he said, you're going to make a lot of money here, kid. You're going to make a lot of money here, kid. But anyway, that was him halfway going through his fucking moves. And he just had to put the brakes on where he was putting the brakes on at that time of his career,
Wow, yeah, that's crazy to think too. Because I remember you telling this story because it was like you were talking about like Steve Austin strapping a rocket on your back and all that stuff. And then you told that story, and I remember you saying those words too. And when he said that to Brickhouse, I was like, wait, didn't he say that to Rob too earlier? So that's crazy.
Something else that reverberates a little bit in my brain is when I did the interview with Sean Oliver, the You Shoot a long time ago.
Yeah,
he had a pick a hand segment, where he went through a big list of wrestlers. Did you ever have to ask this guy to pick a hand? Did you ever have to ask this guy? And I, being unfiltered and genuine like I always am, I told stuff that nobody knows about. Like, well, I did think about it with this guy, but it didn't quite get there. And there was a few of those, and one of them was Vince. But I did sit outside his office waiting on him, and I was going to ask him to pick a hand. And Paul Heyman talked me out of it, but I was there for, it seems like 45 minutes at least, like a long, long time. And I was upset. And it was about going to the Qatar, about going over with the military. It was, and yeah, anyway, when I was reading the comments, somebody was saying something, about, oh, it seems like Rob wants to beat up a lot of old men all the time, like a hothead. He seems like he'd be a dick, or something like that. I was like, first off, Vince back then was like maybe my age now, as far as that goes. But besides that, what it was about, and I've said this and you've probably heard me say this. I said this every single time when it got down to it, when I get that far to talking about when I was waiting to ask him, and I thought that's what it was going to take for him to understand that he didn't have that power over me as a person. I'm not going, Vince. I'm not going to go. I appreciate that, Rob. But you're going to see this is going to be a great experience for you. That offended me so much that I thought, this guy thinks he owns me, like I'm his property, like he can control me to that extent. And I think I'm going to have to smack him in order for him to understand that I don't feel that way. He doesn't control me, and I'm willing to accept any consequences. And that just comes to the front of my brain with all the stuff that's going on now, and to think about how somebody could possibly have that much of a hunger for power and dominance over people. And like I said, I think last week, there's like a whole culture of world elitists that view certain people as subhuman or beneath them, and use people for experimentation or for a hunting game, whatever, stuff like that. And I just feel like that's all, like, this rolls right into that same atmosphere.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to kind of think about all that stuff. And everything that you're kind of hearing when it comes to like the allegations and everything like that. And then you kind of look at the past and see, like, you make those kind of connections, and it's pretty wild to kind of think about all that. And like, people in power and that have a lot of money and everything like that, they don't think a lot of the way that other people do. That's why they're up there, and they get to that level sometimes. So.
That's true. That is true. And I'm not convicting him yet, but
sure,
also are still valid either way. And like I said before, even if from reading, and I read the whole 67-page.
Did you?
Yes, I did. And even if that was consensual, I'm still very disturbed. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, hey, Rob, did you have an RVDology this week?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
Cool.
Are we done? Did you go through all the super chats?
Oh, thank you. Jeez. There was actually a couple new super chats here. Let me get to those. So, thank you for reminding me. Ryan Brown, $9.99. Thank you. He says, Rob, huge fan. What was Raven like to be around outside of an ECW ring? I heard he is a legit genius. His promos were great. I would love to meet him. Sadly, New Jack, I can't meet New Jack. So what is
was that last part? Oh, sadly, New
Jack.
That's funny. I think I remember hearing something about that way back then in like '96 that he was supposed to be a genius. I don't know if there's anything to that, but what's funny is until recently, well, when I say recently, let's say the last maybe, let's say it's probably like 6-7 years ago. I feel like we know each other a little bit more now, but it used to, like a little, maybe like pre-COVID. Before that, I would only see him every once in a while, like at a convention or something. And shortly into the conversation, he would always say the same thing. He would always say, I forget how smart you are. That's what he would tell me.
Oh, really?
What's that? What? Anyway, he'd always say, "I forget how smart you are until you start talking, and I hear your vocabulary, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. RVD's intelligent." And he's like, you know what I mean? Just because I just think of you, like being dude, like a stoner, and I forget always till I start talking to you, and I'm always like, that's what you tell me every time, Scotty. Remember that last time, when we were in fucking Brazil? No, I've never been to Brazil. I don't know where that place is. I'm trying to think of. But anyway, he's funny. He jokes a lot. He always tries to make me laugh because that's our relationship. I usually, if I have something funny to say, I try to make him laugh. So our relationship isn't very serious at all. It's very, very silly and goofy. And that's the Raven that I know outside of, but he's always been that way.
Yeah.
One thing I remember way back in ECW in 96, 97, we were in Boston, and we used to stay at this hotel that was right before to get to the hotel was right before a roundabout.
A roundabout, yeah.
Whatever they call it in Boston, yeah. And so if you passed it, then you had to go all the way around. And I was in the car in a van with him for some reason, and Sandman and whoever else was in the car. We were all riding back to the hotel, and whoever was driving kept passing the hotel and going around, and we were doing circles. And Raven every time kept saying, what was he saying? I see Big Ben. Maybe there's a clock there. Now that I think about it, maybe he nicknamed something Big Ben. Maybe there's a clock there that I don't remember. I never really tried to make sense of it right now, but so look, he kept saying, I see London, I see France. I said, hey, look, everyone, Big Ben. I think it's a line from Vacation.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hey, look, everyone, Big Ben. That's what he was saying. Something to that effect. But anyway, yeah, we have even if I haven't seen you in 2 years, if I see you, I'm going to come up and say like, hey, remember that one time you ran out of toilet paper and asked for a roll, or whatever, it's just stupid, silly. And, I like him on that. I forget how much older he is than us, but he's like older than us. How old is he? Do you know?
Let me look it up.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Okay.
Like another generation ahead of us. So
Yeah.
that's why everyone thought he was a genius, because he's able to talk like a grown-up when everyone else was 20 years old.
All right. He's 59, Rob.
Okay.
59 years old. Yeah. He's do you remember seeing him win Ben Stein's money on that game show?
No.
Okay, he was on that game show, Win Ben Stein's Money, and he definitely should flex his IQ on that one for sure.
But I remember seeing him before I went to a live wrestling show when I was a kid, maybe 15-ish or whatever, 16, and the news had a special on pro wrestling because they were coming to the Kellogg Center, but they showed Larry Sharp's Monster Factory in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I saw Bam Bam Bigelow there as a student. I was like, whoa, cool. He's an up and coming wrestler. And I also saw Scotty the Body. And that was that was him.
How's about that?
Quote the Raven, nevermore.
Yeah, he was pretty unique back in I only knew him from WCW when I was a kid. And then later on, I learned that, he's from ECW. And so, he had a very neat persona back then and stuff. So now he's wrestling in MLW. He did, not wrestling, but he's a persona there. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The ECW fans loved him, and I didn't understand grunge or any of that. That was all being introduced to me for the very first time right there when I came to ECW, seeing him and his type. Let me just put it that way.
His flock of people.
Yeah. And like early on, somehow we would end up going to nightclubs together. Like I don't know why. I guess he lived there or knew the local scene. Pitbull Anthony maybe worked at this club or something. And like I remember them taking us out and just seeing like all these people and hearing this music for the first time. It was like really mind-opening for me.
Yeah. Fucking, geez, why can't I think of that band's name?
Me too. I know what you mean. The guy that killed himself.
Oh, Nirvana, Kurt Cobain.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then
Yep.
what's the other one? Pearl Jam's the other one that they always talk about too. Stephen White just donated $1, so thank you, Stephen. Appreciate that. All right, no comment, no nothing, but thank you for your donation.
Take your book.
Yeah, Marsh 32X, $5. Thank you. First time I saw wrestling live was at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center with Sabu and RVD as a tag team champions. Any thoughts on the Poughkeepsie area, Rob?
I love synchronicity.
Oh.
I'd say 2 hours ago, I was reading an email about somebody that wanted to book me at a comedy club in Poughkeepsie. Laugh Out Loud or something like that. I kind of skimmed through it. But the name of the club is something laugh out loud or laugh something. And anyway, it came through. There's a contact at robvandam.com that not everyone knows about that they can use. And I went like half a year without looking at it. And so recently that created a job for somebody. Go through that, dude. Look at all those offers that have been sent there, for the last 6 months, and see if there's anything worth it, And a couple of things have come out of it, And most of them are interview requests, but which I did a few of those,
Yeah.
And then, but there's a couple of it sound like bookings, and this one, for me to travel and do stand up, the guy's probably not gonna. It probably isn't going to work out unless I'm already in the area or something, because I'm not going to get paid to do stand-up the same that I would get paid to wrestle or even to sign autographs, and that's what it takes to get me there. So that's why I would take a combo booking, like maybe if you had a promoter that wanted to book me to do a signing in a day, then someone that can have a way of getting their money back that they got to pay me and then book this on top of it. Cool. That could work out. That'd be fun. But otherwise that's, it's not worth it for me and my time to go somewhere and do that. So that's the situation.
Make the trip and all that stuff.
But anyway, besides that, I think of the match with Jerry Lynn when he busted his face open on the floor. Mm-hmm. When I kicked him off the top rope and on his way down, his hands pushed the mat away. Bam! And something else about Poughkeepsie, Mid-Hudson Civic Center. I have been told that I'm wrong about this, but that's where I remember Sandman coming out to the ring completely naked.
Oh, man.
I've been told it wasn't Poughkeepsie, but in my mind, that's how I remember. That's how I remember it, was when he was so drunk one time. It was like a 6-man or 8-man or something, and he came back in the dressing room to get more beer because he was out of beer, and decided to drop his underwear and did some stuff that wouldn't be approved of. Grabbed someone's brush and was brushing his pubes because he thought it was funny. He was like,
"Oh shit,
bro, you're drunk."
You're hammered and butt ass naked.
Yeah. Completely naked. Dropped his underwear, went back out to the ring.
So Rob, I'm looking here, and you can't hold me to this, but I'm at WrestlingRecaps.com, June 3rd, the year 2000. Apparently, this took place in not Poughkeepsie, but Pensacola, Florida, and he was the main event was Steve Corino, Jack Victory, Rhino, and Scotty Anton versus Sandman, Raven, Tommy Dreamer, and Dietary. It says Sandman is drunker than usual as he's usually going all over the place, stumbling around. He suggests that screw the match and goes to a bar down the street. Let's see. And then he gets naked at the bar. Sandman decides to take his pants off and reveal his penis to everyone. Dreamer tries to stop that, but fails. Instead, Dreamer pushes Sandman down with his pants around his ankles. This is just a joke. Sandman leaves the ring and his friends follow to go after the heels and finally start fighting. Huh.
I hate to say it. But it's possible this could be two different incidents.
I mean, if you get naked once, it's likely you're probably going to get naked again.
Because I remember him coming into the dressing room with underwear on and him pulling it down in the dressing room, not at a bar down the street. But anyway, yeah, that was Sandman.
Well, he's got a new podcast. I think it's called The Sandman Show, and it's on an ad-free show, so maybe he can retell that
Are you
story.
serious?
Yeah, he does.
Wow, okay.
Uh-huh.
By the way, Sabu asked when we're going to do each other's podcast. So I said real soon, so maybe next week I'll get him on here and vice versa.
Hell yeah, dude. I'd be game for that. No doubt about it. That'd be awesome. So Stephen White, not Stephen Wright, the comedian. Stephen White actually did donate another $5 for a question. He said, Rob, who was the stiffest and tried hurting you the most when you were in Japan in your early years? Rob, you talked about this a couple
Yeah, I think I've talked about this often, but it was Kawada. Mm-hmm. Kawada was the guy. I saw him last year at WrestleCade or Starcade, whatever.
It was Starcade.
Starcast. Yeah, it was awesome to see him after. 25 years probably since I've seen him.
Yeah.
And anyway, Kawada used to kick the shit out of me. I'm just thinking of, I feel like I've told this story like a few times, but like what he did was he taught me to respect the business. Cause here I am in Japan, I started in 93. I'm 22 years old. And first off, I'm wearing a black belt, that Ron Slinker gave me. And I'm using it to tie what I think looks really cool. If you see this old footage, it's like a Japanese kimono, but it's called a happy coat because it's shorter. And it looks to me like a karate gi with a dragon on it, made of silk, badass. But to the Japanese, it's something they like put on when they get out of the bath. So they probably thought that I was an idiot already. and there I am wrestling barefoot with the black belt. And then when I would wrestle Kawada, because he was older and much more experienced, I think, didn't he have some kind of Olympic experience?
That's interesting. Let me look that up. Well,
yeah, I know Honda did. Honda was, anyway, he would kick the shit out of me, and he got to a point where he wouldn't sell my stuff because my stuff, looking back at it, was light. It was like I got trained really stiff, and then when I started the show, working the indie shows and stuff, I got taught to lighten up a lot by Al Snow and his partner Mike Kelly. A lot of the guys didn't want to work with us because we were so fucking stiff. It was like half shoot with us or more, And then in Japan, I was using what Al Snow and Mike Kelly wanted and doing these little taps that I would do on the chest. Tap, 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 tap. And Kawada would just kick the shit out of me. And I started taking it personal because I was getting better, getting more experience, getting older. And one time I was in a 6-man match, and Terry Gordy and Steve Williams were my partners. And I was out there with Kawada in the ring, and he kicked me in the back of the head. I went down to my head like an enziguri or something. I went down to my hands and knees, and he gave me a football kick in the face.
Jeez.
Yeah. And right away, Doc and Gordy hit the ring. He powdered. They chased Misawa and whoever else off the corner, and they came over to me, and they were like, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And they said, "When he comes back in, kick him as hard as you fucking can." That's what Doc said.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And after that, I used to kick him so hard every chance I would get until finally I reached a point where Kawada was actually like, "Tonight, take it easy."
Nice.
And looking back at it, he taught me to respect the business. When I was doing these little light ass kicks, if he would have sold them, that would have made the business look bad. It would have made him look weak. And man, they kicked the shit out of each other too. So that was the style. And he taught me to really step it up. And that became, what was my style that I always used afterwards. Kawada was the guy that was really one of the main influences in me laying my shit in.
Well, when it comes to Dr. Death and Terry Gordy, when they were saying kick him as hard as you can, do you think they were thinking that too, that you were not that's what Kawada was doing, like he was kind of teaching you, or they were like, that asshole, get him back?
That one.
Okay,
that one.
more like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's interesting. That's fucking crazy though, Rob. That's pretty neat though, because like to what you're saying, you fucking kick him as hard as you can, and boom, you earn that respect. And sure enough, I
think maybe when he came in, I went to do it and he just tagged out. I think that's what happened, Yeah. But I just kicked the shit out of him from now on,
That's it.
Yeah. I always liked it stiff anyway, but then I understood, like I'm disrespecting the business, throwing these. I used to bend someone's arm. Mm-hmm. I twist their wrist and I put my leg over there. The leg go pop, 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 pop. Yeah. And I kick him like a pepper kick is what it was called. And I'd hop on my one foot, pop, pop. And I never thought of it as being light or weak or whatever, but he made me think of it that way because he wouldn't sell it. And I was like, all right, well, fuck it then. I'm going to lay it in.
You know what?
That's what he wanted.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Yeah, it was pretty neat seeing you guys reunite at StarCast. That was pretty cool.
That was awesome for me.
Pretty fun.
Because I was like, I'll kick your ass now, boy. But he did look good, though, man.
Yeah, he did. He looked really good. We did get another super chat, too. Unsweet Tease says, thank you for the $5. He says, I remember Rene Dupree telling the story of setting off the hotel alarm talking with you. I remember you telling that story, too, Rob. He said, who are the best smoking buddies and biggest lightweights when it comes to smoking?
Well, Booker T and I were road wives for a long time in WWE. For a while, Nick Patrick was with us because they were bros before Booker and Nick from WCW. But I guess Nick must have dropped off. Maybe they let him go or something. And Book and I really both enjoyed smoking, like, on the whole trip. And we had a great relationship because neither one of us kept count on who owes what who. Yeah. And that included smoking, you know what I mean? Like I'll roll a joint, you roll a joint, whatever, or didn't matter, if I rolled last time, another one, we would smoke each other's shit. And it was also cool because that's how we treated the dinner bills too. When we go to, eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever on the road, fucking, hey, I got it, boom, I'd grab it. He'd grab the next one, but if you grab two in a row, it wouldn't be, nobody would be keeping track. If I grabbed a couple in a row, or if I paid at the Japanese restaurant, it was $200 and you're paying at Subway and it's $14. That ain't fair. We didn't give a shit. It was more just like family. It is what it is, and we're both doing the same thing. Yeah, we were so close that I actually at one point when I was negotiating with Johnny Ace to re-sign, I actually asked Booker like what he made, which is a question that I think that's one of the most personal questions you can ask somebody, and I can't think of anybody other wrestler. But some of them are real open about it, but then I think they're full of shit when they're in the dressing room and they're saying, hell yeah, well, I was making such and such a year, here, and then now I'm making this, and then it's like, whoa, he's making how much? Like, that ain't fair. But at the same time, he's probably full of shit. But anyway, but I went back to Johnny Ace and told him that, because it was like comparable to what I was making, and I was looking to get a bump up. And then I was like, Booker says he's getting this, why, and we're a tag team or whatever. And, I think, I guess that was a time when I did resign, but we were really close anyway. And so he was my favorite to smoke with. Also Sabu, of course. Heavyweights, is that what it said?
He said lightweight. So who was a lightweight to smoke with?
Well, yeah, besides Renee, I'm trying to think of someone in the wrestling business that smoked and maybe
couldn't handle it too well.
Maybe shouldn't have. Yeah, you know what? Nobody really comes to mind. I mean, people that knew they didn't want to get super stoned usually just wouldn't smoke that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And back in the ECW days, we would always gather somewhere outside. Find a spot and there'd be like a little huddle, and little Guido was the one that would halfway through the doobie, after he's had a chance to just hit it a few times because it's going around, he would disappear. He never said goodbye to us. He'd do the Irish goodbye.
The Irish goodbye.
Just be like, what happened to little Guido? Where'd he go? And he knew, because he didn't want people to be like, come on, you can hit it again, it's not going to kill you. Like, he knew, like, boom, I just want to hit it a couple times, I'm going to be good. And he was good like that.
He knew his threshold.
By the way, this isn't going to be a short episode at all.
No, we were trying to make it short and it just didn't happen.
Sorry, baby. But anyway, it's that pre-workout that I took. Godfather, when I met him, it was a blind date because I had so many wrestlers were telling me like, oh, you gotta meet the Godfather, man. He loves smoking like you. I can't believe you haven't smoked with him, man. You two would get along so good, man, because we were both very open about loving marijuana. You know, people were saying the same thing to him. And one day I was at a WWE show. I guess it was probably when ECW was invading WWE.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, it must have been then. And hey, I got keys to a car. Do you want to get out and check it out? We were out there, you know, smoking our first doobie together, and it was a fucking blind date. Hadn't met each other before, and it was like, yeah, so good to meet you, bro. Finally meet you. So that was funny.
That's like Batman and Superman together. Boom.
It's weird how smoking is so social, you know, but it is. You know, people share it. During COVID, you know, the etiquette changed quite a bit to where everyone get their own doobie a lot of times, and but it seems like it's gone back, you know, and it's weird because it's different than I don't know, like I don't know how. I guess drinking obviously is social too, but I was thinking some people at home, you know, might have a nightcap or whatever, you know, and I don't know. It's something where people sometimes, I have strangers I don't even know come, hey, mind if I hit that? You know, the answer is no. The answer is no if I don't know you. But I mean, they feel almost comfortable enough to ask because it's such a social thing that it's like, hey, can you get me high? I want to be high. I want to be high, and you're smoking weed. Can I get in on that plan? Yeah.
Well, somebody says here, Daz252 says, Stone Cold said kind of thing in an interview where weed wasn't for him. He likes his alcohol, though.
It's definitely not for everybody. And one thing that's for sure, it's definitely not the same as when you first try it, which people don't understand. People will base their very limited experience based on that. They'll think that's a fact, like that's what it does to everybody, you know. People should not be driving after they smoked marijuana. I smoked a joint one time, and I'll tell you what, I couldn't tell you my name. I couldn't tell you where I was. I had no coordination. There's no way people should be driving like that. Like, stupid ass. That's not that's not how people that drive and smoke and weed are. Some of them, because they're stupid asses and they shouldn't be, but everybody's different. And that's, you know, and kids, definitely, I always say kids should stay away from it. And I'm glad that I did. I didn't smoke till I was 21.
How about that? Yeah, right? Jeez. We'll close it out with this one, Rob. It's not a
kids' brains are still developing, by the way. It's like wet cement, and you can still like fuck up the final outcome.
And they say your brain's not fully developed till you're like 26 years old.
26, yep.
Mm-hmm. So how about that? Like, no wonder you can't rent a car until you're 26. Where's the one chat I wanted to find here? Somebody just mentioned that they were in Queens and saw you. And I want to find that comment.
Yeah, man. A few people said they're enjoying the podcast.
Yeah, dude.
That.
Oh, they said it there at the convention and stuff. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. Well,
oh, yeah. Jeffrey Hughes, that's who it is. He says, it was an absolute pleasure meeting you this past Saturday in Queens. You're an awesome dude. So there we go.
Cool, yes, guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged. Well, what's awesome about you too, Rob, is your RVDology. So what do you have for the listeners and viewers this week?
It's been a long one, and I got a couple of giggling girls in the other room waiting for me, so I should try and make this short. But hey, man, if I can help somebody out, then it's worth my time. And so I had an idea, a value of mine that I want to talk about is validation. Self-validation, to be in particular. Well, how do we get self-validation? How do we feel that we are valid? Usually, a lot of it is from outside sources. That's what we base That's what we base everything on. It's feedback from other people. And I'll give you an example. If you are the ugliest girl in school, but everybody tells you you're beautiful, guess what? You're going to feel validated. You're going to feel like you are beautiful. That's what everyone tells you, because what is beautiful? It's subjective anyway. And so is it a real thing? Is there a particular profile? No, there's things that are like more common or majority rules, but everything is subjective. And that's something that I always say anyway. But a lot of times I feel like you should be conscious more of how you're getting your self validation, because the best place when you're at your strongest is you get it from yourself. Now, experience is where we get all of our information, firsthand experience, or sometimes learning from other people's experiences. Example, if I beat everybody every time I race foot race them, well, I'm going to feel pretty confident that I'm fast. If everyone says I'm the fastest person they've ever seen, I'm going to feel validated. I'm going to have an opinion that, yeah, I'm pretty fast. If I kick a lot of people's asses, if I'm in a lot of fights and I always beat everyone up, then I'm going to feel pretty confident, that yeah, I can fight, or I'm tough. Some people don't have the experience, and then they're invalid, and they feel that lack of validation, and it's awkward. And sometimes it comes across awkward, I've talked about when I was in All Japan, when I first went there, and I'm in a hotel room smoking hash with these guys that have been all around the world so many times. They're Doc, Steve Williams, and Gary Albright, and Phil LaFont, and Johnny Smith, and these guys are all talking about, like, oh my God, remember that bar in China? And we were over there, and they were saying that we couldn't be in there, and I was just like fresh out of high school, and so I did not feel valid. Like, I had not been validated to myself. I didn't feel what's the word I'm looking for?
Experienced?
No, adequate.
Okay.
I didn't feel like I was up to the standards of contributing to the conversation, or maybe even of hanging out with these guys. What have I done that's going to impress them? I'm going to talk about a fight I got in at a football game, So a lot of people are in that, and a lot of people don't get a lot of experience, and that's fine. A lot of people get experience in different areas than they do in other areas, and that's fine too, and that's normal. How confident am I that I'm a good dresser? Zero. Zero. And that's why it's hard also to be by yourself. So if you have somebody else that you can bounce off of, even if it's one person, especially if it's someone that's like your wife, if she says you look hot, that's all that matters. Like, why do I give a fuck what anyone else thinks? She thinks this shirt goes with these pants and shoes, and she likes it. Boom, that's enough for me to wear it. Otherwise, by myself, I would have like no idea sometimes, like if I, on certain things, and for me, it's a lot of things, because I didn't pay attention to things that a lot of other people did. I did pay attention to certain areas that I've excelled at in life when they weren't paying as much attention. And so that's just the way that everything is. If you watch the RVDology that I did with G Douche recently on reprogramming yourself, because when you're real little, you take the values of everybody else, everyone that talks to you, and you repeat things that you heard as if those are your own thoughts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
At a certain age, sometimes you might find that you disagree with yourself. I did this ideology on reprogramming yourself, and this guy G Douche. How was I relating that? I'm trying to think of how I was relating the outcome of G Deuce.
Was it how he was maybe raised?
No. Well, what it was it was an altercation. This guy picked a fight with me, and anyway, the fight consisted of an alleged backbreaker and a headbutt. And this guy's trying to sue me for tons of money, thinking he's gonna get a whole new life off of this bullshit fabricated case. And anyway, it went to trial after 4 years of carrying on and on. Watch the episode if you haven't on reprogramming. But even though there's audio problems with it, but when I'm on the stand, his lawyer is trying to validate his claims that I am like a ninja. You know what I mean? Nobody would pick a fight with me. Look at him. He's a monster, he actually said. And then he's like, you would feel like comfortable like saying that you could probably beat most people up, right? Like, what do you mean? Like the average person. I said, I don't know what you consider an average. He's like the jury, look at the jury, like these are average people. And I looked at them and I was thinking, like, how can I validate how good of a fighter anybody is by looking at them? If they're like a black belt in jiu-jitsu, or maybe even a psycho killer over there looking with the glasses. I don't know. Like, I don't know any of these people. And well, he had a claim that he had to validate, So he was trying to say that since I was in the ring with Brock Lesnar, that I'm one of the toughest guys in the world, and it was, of course, his guy didn't try to pick a fight with me. G Douche. Nobody would. Well, that was a bunch of bullshit, which is why I won the case, But I think that you should test yourself in areas where you need validation, but you shouldn't bullshit in areas where you don't feel validated or you don't feel confident in. Let me use that word instead. But also, man, we don't really need other people to validate us as much as we think we do. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want you to keep in mind. Think about it. Like, sometimes people give too much information up out of peer pressure. Someone's talking, and they're like, hey, is that, what kind of car you got? That's an example.
Yeah.
And so-and-so that's not confident is like, I got a Mustang. It's pretty nice. I mean, for me, I like it. Some people do that, and it's like so uncomfortable and awkward. Like, why do you feel like you have to go through all of that? Like, you don't need me to validate you and what you drive. There'll be that, oh, that's your wife? Yeah, man, yeah, she's hot. I think she's hot. She's good looking. she's not, like an Angela Love. I don't know. I just threw Angela Love out. I was thinking Angela Jolie, but I don't know if you know people that, or if you've had conversations like that, but those people need validation so bad they reek with desperation. So just keep that in mind. Like, sometimes, you know what? If you're seeking validation from other people, sometimes that's not the best source, because one, they're just people. Two, everything is subjective anyway. So it's just going to be their opinion, and look in yourself for validation more. You don't have to know that you're a great dancer or a great singer unless that's what you want to be. If not, then fuck what the other people want from you. Fuck what the other people apply as standards that you got to meet, and fuck explaining yourself to people in order to be validated. You know what I mean? Like, a cop says to you, "You got business here?" "Yes, I do." What is your business?" "I don't have to tell you. I'm not looking for validation from you to tell me if my business is acceptable or not. I said, yes, I have business here. You know what I mean? That's just an example. But anyway, that's what I want to leave you guys with is self-validate more and look for outside validation less.
That's a great one, Rob. And you get that too. You get self-validation by experience, just going and experience things on your own, and that helps a lot. So
it does. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. And eventually, if you live long enough, you'll experience everything. And yeah, it is a lot. It's a lot more comfortable being able to be more confident in a lot more areas than I ever was as you go back further and further in time. And so that's something too. And areas that you're interested in, get more experience in that. And other stuff, if you don't really care about it, it's okay that you're not confident or that you don't feel like you don't know if you qualify for being the best juggler or the best friend to somebody that you don't really enjoy hanging out with anyway. So what if he doesn't consider you a good friend? Is that what you want, is to be a good friend to everybody? That's ridiculous. Yeah. How could you get value? That's too much validation from everybody. Just get it within.
Get it within.
Yep.
Guys, if you like what you're hearing, you can tune into rvdtv.com or go to rvdpod.com. But that will lead you to the RVD's YouTube channel. RVD TV will lead you to all of the podcast content that we do. And then you can tune in typically early on the Premier Streaming Network. This one.
How do you get to the RVD TV one? Because I tried and I couldn't get it.
So just go to rvdtv.com or
on YouTube or go to.
It's on YouTube. It's just it's a vanity.
Not www.rvdtv.com.
Yeah, you can do it that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it'll hit it there. Or
it's actually a website.
So what I did is I bought that domain, and then it goes to that. It goes to the YouTube channel. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So you can do it that way. Or if you subscribe to that, that'll help us out a lot. But also, tune into Rob's channel too. And then you can also, what was else I was going to say? Oh yeah, if you want to hit the direct link, it's youtube.com// at one of a kind, number one of a kind with RVD. So there you go, guys. Check it out there. Follow Rob at The Real RVD. Follow me at Dominic D'Angelo. And share, comment, do whatever you can on these YouTube channels to help us out and get the word out about it. So, because this RVDology stuff is great. Rob, you're already getting great feedback here in the chat from it. So,
am I? Cool. Yeah, cool, man. That's what keeps me going.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'll read it until we close. But cool, man. So this is going to be posted right after the show,
right? Immediately, because it's this week's episode. So.
And then are we doing Thursday this week?
Do you want to do Thursday? We could do Thursday. We could do Friday. Whatever fits for you, man. I'm good to go.
I think so, yeah. And we're doing this on Monday, everyone, just because last week we were busy. I was out of town.
And I was in Vegas. So
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So all right, cool, man. Thanks, Dom. Thanks, fam. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed you. See you next week.
See you next week here on One of a Kind with RVD.